welcome to each of you. We've been corresponding a little bit by email. I know some of you have spoken with Ken, and I'm really grateful that you're here attending. Um, uh, and appreciate that you even signed up for this Seeds of Change grant that Faith Communities Go Green applied to. When we sent out the announcement that we're going to apply for this grant, 21 houses of worship responded that they're interested, which was fantastic, but we could only accept 10 houses of worship because of our capacity and our finances. And so we had a dilemma. How are we going to select just 10? And we did it based on the requirements of the grant, looking at your situation, your building, and feeling that you would be the best fit. So that's how you got selected, and I'm glad you're participating. And each of you signed the memorandum of understanding. With funds from Co-op Cincy and the Brueggemann Center in the fall of 2024, we conducted a pilot program to test this idea and to see if it's a possibility to get level 2 energy audits by a professional company at a reasonable price. And so 7 houses of worship participated in that. And so today we are going to explain the grant because it's based on the success of that program, and that it's also based on tweaks that we were able to make, and to improve it. So 2 people who participated in that program are Donna Turner and Leslie Jones, and they are going to talk with you after Ken gives you a brief introduction. And so they're happy to answer any of your questions because they've been through it. Also, I want to tell you that Ken, who's the chair of the facilities working group, really gets credit for designing this program and running the pilot program. So that in mind, he will go ahead. I'm introducing him for him to explain to you the process and what to expect. So Ken, I'm turning it over to you, and thank you. Thank you all.
Okay. Thank you, Joanne. And Joanne wrote, she's being bashful herself because she wrote most of the proposal because I was away on vacation. So I very strategically timed it. So she did a lot of work to make this happen. Okay, I am going to share my screen here and we will see what we can do. I want to make this full screen. Where is it?
Should be at the very bottom.
There it is. Oh no, there it is. Okay. Okay. So if you're not here for Seeds of Change kickoff webinar, you're in the wrong webinar, but hopefully you're in the right place. So thank you for joining us. And as Joanne said, we pitched this program to the city and they were interested in us doing a project that would improve the resilience of key communities within Cincinnati. Obviously, they wanted it to be in Cincinnati city limits, so that limited a number of the people that applied, the 20-some people that applied that Joanne talked about. But we also considered, where in the city you were to try to spread you around and, what your community might need. So they're expecting us at the end of the day to produce a product that helps community resilience in Cincinnati. So that's the bottom line, and we'll do our best to get there. And I think you all know your own communities way better than we do. So if the ways that we can do that, let us know. We're talking about doing an energy audit. There's some terminology here. We talk about a level 1 audit and a level 2 audit, and these are the industry terms for relative degrees of detail and professionalism. A level 1 audit can be done by a professional, but also can be done by non-professionals, which is what we're going to do, and identify a lot of the characteristics of the energy use in a particular building. But most granting agents, most companies or governments, organizations, private or public, require a level 2 audit to be, and one that is certified by a trained energy auditor to back up your claim for a need for something. So if you say you need a new furnace, they want some independent engineer to say, yep, that's right, they need it. And so this is the process of what we're doing. There's not going to be any money changing hands. You're not paying us. We're not paying you. Most of the money that's coming into this from the city grant is actually going to the contractor, Energility, who is going to be doing the training and going to be doing the level 2 energy audits. Now, it seems like a lot of money, but believe me, compared to when we've gone out for bids for doing this, they are by far the lowest cost outfit we could get. And that doesn't mean they're doing a cheesy job. They do a very classy job, and they spend a lot more time on it than I would expect based on what they're getting for it. And I think that's because they believe in this project and they think it's part of their mission. You all get to meet Justin Kale of Energility at the training program, and he's a lot more entertaining than I am. So he's going to be doing most of the training and try to minimize what I have to time I'm at the mic. Okay. So what are you going to get out of it? You're going to get you're going to get 2 reports. You're going to get one report that is done by volunteers. That's our level 1 assessment. And it will identify what we think are projects, complicated or sometimes very simple, that you all should do to reduce your energy costs. And then you're going to get this level 2 audit from Energility, which is going to probably back most of that up. They'll probably make some changes, which is fine. They're the experts. And they are relying on us to do a good job in our level 1 audits to reduce the cost and time that they have to spend doing level 2. So that's why it's set up in this kind of 2-step fashion. It's part of the cost reduction that they were able to give us because they think we do a good job in our level 1 audits. Okay, so this is the schedule that we have. Most of you have already provided utility data. There's probably 1 or 2 that still have not. We really like to get that in because we've hired a contractor to put that into a standard computer program called Portfolio Manager. And I think he's done 5 or 6 of them already, but there's another 4 yet to go. We've asked you to identify volunteers, and most of you have done that. You're here. Again, there's a couple that have not. So the next big step is doing the volunteer training. And there's been a lot of email traffic back and forth trying to make that happen. And we did pick, I was really surprised, frankly, and pleased that the response was so positive that we were able to get so many people to say yes, they could make these dates that we'd thrown out, because Justin picked them based on his availability. He's up in Columbus. He has to come down here to do these. And I think we had like 9 or 10 people for every one of the 3, which is a good, I think we have like 12 different volunteers. So the training is going to take about 3 weeks or so. September 10th is our last scheduled session. And then for the rest of the year, we're going to schedule level 1 energy assessments with a team of volunteers, probably about 3. I've got some experienced people who have done this in our first go round to help lead the teams, so that, to give you some extra support. I will do some of them myself too. And we'll go make arrangements with each of the organizations in our program to, at a time when they can do it and time when our volunteers can do it. So there's going to be some negotiation there. So that's why it's spread over a fairly long time. It'll go quickly, believe me. And December is usually not a great time to do these because, everybody's focused on Christmas. We have a midterm grant report that we have to give to Seeds of Change, the city, in mid-December. We'll figure out exactly what that's going to be as we go a little further down the road. We'll probably need some input from you all, but we'll let you know what we need. And then once we have done the level 1 energy assessments, which we hope is by the end of the year, Energy Agility will take over and do another round of talking to you, setting up visits at your building, and we would ask that somebody from your building be available to be there while they're there. And in both cases, in both the level 1 and the level 2 audits. And in the January to May time period, those audits will happen per their schedule and your schedule. And when they will then produce a report, they'll come back to you, schedule sessions. It'd probably be a Zoom session and talk with you about what they found, what they recommend, and give you a chance to ask questions about it. And sometimes things have to be amended, so it gives a little time to do that. And then at the end of June, we will, middle of June, we'll be asked to submit our final report. So that's how we vision the program going. If we have a little bit of slide in our level 1 assessments, it's probably not going to be a problem, because as soon as we get two level 1 energy assessments done, they could actually start doing the level 2 audits on that. So we can overlap them a bit and help our schedule that way. Okay, whoops. Let's make sure I'm at the right side. Okay, so what do we want you all to provide? I want to get this bar out of here. Well, first thing was to sign the MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding, and live by it. You all have signed it. Everybody here as an organization has signed one of these. So that's good. Identify a contact person. Again, that's checked by that. We've done that. Share the data, particularly the utility bills, is the primary thing, and that's well underway. Allow information to be provided to a third party. Okay, so the utility information and anything about your particular building and so forth is going to need to be shared with Portfolio Manager, which is a computer program that we only have access to, and we will give Energility access to it as well. And then Energility will need the same information that we have in order to be doing their level 2 audits. So we treat your data as being private. We don't share it with other folks. If we do want to, we'll come and ask your permission first. Identify the volunteer. Yeah, we talked about that. We're good there, I think, in every case. And provide a facility. We did put in there that I asked you to volunteer for a training site. We really only need 2 training sites. And so I think we're set there. The first training site is going to be actually outside of this group up at St. Simon of Cyrene in Lincoln Heights. And that's because that's the church that I attend and it's close by, and I've done the training before. So I feel comfortable and confident that we have the equipment, so forth there, and just easier for me. Okay, so more, what are we asking you to do? Yeah, okay, so you agreed to have trained volunteers come in and do an assessment, walk around your building, and provide some sort of a knowledgeable person there who knows your building, to accompany them, because that makes it a whole lot more valuable. And then to do the same thing when Agility comes to call and have somebody there and walk them around and show them the various parts of the building and answer questions that they might have. And then it's probable that we'll ask you for some information for the midterm final reports, but I frankly don't know what that's going to be yet. So sounds like a big long list, but you all are doing a great job on it, so I'm not worried about it. And what are we supposed to do? Faith Community Go Green. FCGG, if you're not familiar with the acronym, that's Faith Communities Go Green. And Faith Communities Go Green is so long to type and say, so we just use FCGG. Okay, obviously we had to sign the memorandum of agreement too and abide by it, so that's fair enough. We're providing the project leadership, which is Joanne and myself principally, and arranging the training. We interact with the city's Seeds of Change organization. I don't know whether they're going to want to have a direct interaction with you all at some point or not. We'll see how that goes. I mean, it's possible. And if they do, then we'll contact you all and see how we can work that out. Right now, they haven't said anything about it. We have the financial responsibility. That is that the check came to actually an organization. We are not a 501c3 organization ourselves. We are not incorporated or anything like that. So we have a fiscal agent, and the fiscal agent is Equation, which is a multi-religion organization here in town. So they provide the formal structure for us, and the check actually goes to them, and then they disperse money, basically on our say-so. You're not going to see money in there, so this is probably invisible to you, but if you hear that, I don't want you to be surprised. That's the way the situation is. And we're responsibility for communication, obviously, and making sure that things happen in time. And then we're responsible for writing the final reports, or the 2 reports to the Seeds of Change people in the city. Okay, so that's kind of an overview. If you have questions, I meant to say this earlier, nobody did jump in, but if you have comments and questions you want to say right now, jump in now. But the next thing I have, I'm done with my pitch. I would like to turn it over to Donna Turner from Fifth Christian Church in Evanston, and Leslie Jones of Truth and Destiny United Church of Christ in Mount Airy. Both of them have gone through this process in our pilot program, and they can kind of tell you what it's like and what to expect. And so I'll turn it over to them. Donna, you want to talk first?
Sure, that'll be fine.
Okay.
Okay. I want to say that this has been a very positive experience. I am on the leadership team of Faith Communities Go Green, but I would say that anyway. It's been a very positive experience. We benefited immediately. We were one of the sites, one of the training sites, and we had a very successful training. Although we had a lot of hiccups, but everybody pitched in. And I think we had, about 20 people, Joanne, who were there. And so, and the funny thing is, you walk through the church with the level 1 audit, and things that you haven't paid any attention to, you're walking with someone who's skilled, and they can explain some of the systems in your church that you never thought about. And then you get a lot of tips that you can use immediately. Some of them required money, and we still haven't used those tips, but we are on a good track. Once we and another thing, we made friends in that level 1 energy auditor training that have continued with our church. One is running a program out of our church right now that brings in about 20 people a week. So that's always a beautiful thing. So it's really been a win-win for us. The level 2 energy audit was not nearly as labor intensive on us. Yeah, because of the training, I participated in the training and kind of hosted and all like that, so it was a little bit of work for me. But for the level 2, it was a couple of meetings, um, you know, letting the auditor have access to the building, and then this fabulous report. And we, spoke, there's a draft report, and then you get the full report. And when we got the draft report and we talked about some things, they said, well, let us go back and do some more numbers, do some more investigation. And we have such a stellar product in terms of the audit. We have a green team, and a member of the green team has been trying to get grants, and he was familiar with the level 2 audit, and he said that ours was one of the best he's ever seen. So we're hoping to get solar and a battery backup. That's our goal. So we'll let you know. We'll let you know. And we are pursuing grants right now.
Thank you, Don. And Leslie.
There's Leslie. So Leslie, you want to talk about your experience with the pilot program, your audits? Both.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you for the opportunity to share. How are you doing, Brother Avery and Pastor A.H. Johnson? There are some folks on here that I know, and I think that's Reverend Melissa Stevens. These are folks that I know. So maybe I'm going to give some good validation. I don't know to the program. And I will say that I've also been instrumental in helping to kind of track down some of these churches that are here tonight, because maybe they started in the process and hadn't quite finished it. So I really feel good about being able to, reach out to some pastors and say, hey, this is worth it. So if you're here, some of you are here because I did talk with your pastor about the work that had been done and what we were doing here at Truth and Destiny. So just to give you an idea of our property. So our property is a little over 13,700 and something square feet, and it's 3 buildings. We have a sanctuary building, our main sanctuary that seats about 200, and it's separate from our fellowship hall and community center, which is the largest of the 3 buildings. And then we have a 3-bedroom converted to a 2-bedroom home on the property as well. And so we actually did both the level 1 and level 2 audit. And as Donna has already said, we saw some immediate results just in taking advantage of some of the small, some of the things were not very costly. Like it didn't take us a lot of money to do it. We, for example, over a year, because we're a small church, like many of you, and sometimes cash flow is an issue. And maybe you can't pay the full amount of a Duke bill or whatever, for that whole month. And so sometimes that runs over. Then you get a fee. And if any of you know, you have to, if you pay certain parts of your Duke bill, if you pay it online, you've got to pay a fee to pay it online. And so our actual Duke bills for a year in all this, the 3 buildings was running us about $24,000 a year. We are right now on tap to maybe have actually reduced that after the level 1 audit. We reduced it by about $3,000, just doing some small things changing light bulbs, putting caulking. Ken, we're going to get those outdoor pipes wrapped this year and save some more. But and we pumped up this year having the AC up a little higher. So these are some things that your energy audit will show you. Where there's some things that you can do that are not, very costly. Some things that you maybe can find volunteers around the church that can actually do, so you don't have to necessarily hire someone. Also, there'll be things that you probably didn't even know were a thing. We learned some things that we didn't know were a thing, right? We didn't know certain places to caulk and certain, things to look at on the furnace. We didn't even know that was a thing. We found in one of our furnaces, we didn't even know there was a part missing because somebody did some work. And that kind of came with the level 2. He just saw it and said, there's supposed to be a cap there, something. We're like, no. Actually, it improved sort of the airflow through the building. So these are things that you will learn. I will encourage you to really get you 2 or 3, maybe even 4 volunteers, if you can, in your church that can just create a team that when these audits come back and you get them, that they will kind of go through them and prioritize some of the things that you might be able to do immediately, kind of make them, short-term, mid-term, long-term. And so short-term for us was something we could do within 30 days under $500. That was like a short-term thing, like within 30 to 60 days, under $500, that could get done. A midterm thing was, it might take us, 60 to 90, days, and it maybe was going to cost, $1,000, between 500 and 1,000. And then longer term, we said that would be like 6 months up to 18 months. And that was probably going to cost us more than $1,000, because that might mean we needed to raise some more money or look for some more resources to help us get that done. And then we have a major category, and the report was we were able to do that because we had the report. We were kind of walking around our property saying maybe there's some things we need to do, but not knowing what they would actually do for us was a big thing. So I think one of the other pluses is that particularly with the level 2, it shows you the cost savings, that if you make these improvements, that if you do this is going to be your cost savings. And so that actually positions you to write something helps you write your grants. And then for some grants, it requires you to have level 1, level 2 audits in order to even apply for it. And it's a significant value, because I think that a level 2 audit, if you had to pay for it, is close to $15, $25, sometimes thousands of dollars that we would not have. And so we've also, through these, in preparing for this, we'd also had a solar audit. And so how it helped us too was it made a case for why solar would actually be the right direction and a positive thing for us to do here, because it's even going to be a greater cost savings. And that is some of the requirement for some of the grants that are out there that would probably help to get some of this done. So willing to be a resource and for anybody if we can help in any way, and glad to be a part tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Leslie and Donna. Yeah, you really said a couple of things that I forgot to mention, and I really want to highlight that. Is one is that the audits will highlight projects over a range of costs and paybacks. So there are always going to be some what Tenor Agility calls operational projects. That is things that you just do that aren't going to cost you money. It's just the way you run the building, setting the thermostat, that kinds of stuff. And so there's some of that, and then they're all up to scale, like Leslie said. So, and the level 2 audit will give you an approximate cost and payback time, which is helpful to you to kind of see where you are. They're not actual quotes. I mean, you're still going to need to get a quote from a contractor to do the project. It really helps to kind of know, yeah, is this $1,000 job or is it a $10,000 job, kind of a thing. And then you can kind of see what you can do from there and do your planning. Okay. Any comments, questions, thoughts from the audience?
Yes, sir. I have a question.
Sure.
Since we did have a level 1 audit
Yeah.
last year, do we need to do another level 1, or we can go straight to the level 2?
Yeah, that's a good question. And we're taking a position that since you've done that level 1, we can go right to the level 2. So yeah, there's no real need. I mean, it's a year old. It's not going to age out that quickly. And so that's fine. We're expecting you're not building not to have another level 1 assessment.
Okay.
And there's another organization that's kind of in a similar position where they had UC students go through their facility, and they really did a bang up job. It's very, the professor there does a great job. So those 2 organizations won't have to have level 1 audits, but they will be providing the level 2s.
Ken, I wanted to share just
Okay.
some
Yep.
results that were so exciting. Each line represents a different house of worship. And this is the utility savings that they would get. You lower their bill by how much?
Yeah,
And in
If
terms
they
of
did all the projects that were recommended, this is what they could save.
if you do everything correct that's recommended, on average, your utility bill would lower by 42%. If you add in the maintenance costs that you're saving, if you do all the recommendations, you will save 47% of your bill, of your money. So this is really exciting. And the metric tons of greenhouse gas is listed here for a total for just 7 houses of worship will save 750 tons
250.
greenhouse gas. This is the cost of improvements, the total cost if you did absolutely everything they recommend. And this is the payback period. And you see some is very short and some is long, depending on the projects. I believe, all of that gets spelled out in the level 2 report. So doing this is really, really helpful. And when you apply for a grant, you'll be able to say, if we are able to implement this process, we'll save 62% on our bill, or we'll save 61% on our bill and maintenance costs. And they want to know how much you're going to save on your greenhouse gas. You can see one as high as 86 tons a year. So I just pulled these off of the level 2 report. And I thought you would be interested in seeing that because it's so exciting. The other thing that I want to tell you that I think is so exciting is when you send your utility bills, we hired a person to put them into the software. You would not want that task. This is a very savvy computer person that can do it. I attended a class trying to learn how to do it and went right over my head, and I'm fairly computer savvy. And I thought, oh, wow. So we hired somebody, and I'm real grateful.
Yeah, it takes a numbers geek for that.
Yeah. And we do that with money that's donated by people who are participating in Faith Communities Go Green. We have 910 people on our mailing list in just a few years that we've been in operation. And some of you, I recognize that you have donated, and I'm very, very grateful for any money, $5, $500, you know, every bit counts. Not a requirement, obviously. But I want to tell you that the benchmarking that happens with the utility bills gives us a baseline so that when you get, and I'll get to you in a second, Avery, I'll finish my sentence, gives you a baseline so that we know when you've done any improvements, then we can run the new utility bills and see a comparison. And that's how we learned exactly how much you're saving and how much greenhouse gas is being reduced. And it's absolutely awesome. And the other thing it will do is tell you how your building compares to other buildings nationally that are in a similar climate and are used the same number of hours. So they may be a house of worship and are similar size. And then they give you a score. And a score, an EPA Energy Star score above 75 is awesome. And nobody scored even close. Most of them were in the 30s. So we know there's lots of room for improvement, and we hope when we run the pilot program after the houses of worship have made improvements, we will run their utility bills again, and we hope to see higher scores and good savings. Okay, that's my pitch. Avery, you had a question.
Yeah, I wanted to, I did not know that the organization took donations. So can you make sure that we get the donation information from you to make sure that we bless this house that has been blessing us?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's on our website,
Okay.
fcgg.org. There's a donation tab at the top. So if you go to fcgg.org.
I'll bring some information to the training too, but yeah, you can do it through the website. Or I guess a check would have to be mailed to Equation, but with FCGG on the memo line.
And if it's a personal donation, it's tax deductible because Equation is a 501c3, and so they are, the money that you donate goes to Equation, who puts it in our account. So they keep our FCGG money separate from their other programs. They have two other programs, the Festival of Faith, which you may be familiar with, that they host this wonderful program once a year during the summer. And then they have a Mighty Stream where they're working with, communicating with different houses of worship, doing conversations with different houses of worship. So.
Okay, any other questions, comments? All righty, well, we're looking forward to meeting you all in person in probably just a week. And if you have any issues, questions, whatever in between then, just, get in touch with me by email. I think I've given you all my phone. So thank you. Thanks for your time and for your interest. And I know it'll be productive. And I think it's a skill that you can use outside of your own building, in your home, in parishioners or members' homes, hopefully. So you can kind of spread the word a little bit. Okay, thank you and good night.
Thank you.
Be well.